like when you are branded anti-national, when allegations are leveled that you are an anti-national, it is the most difficult thing to cope up with.
Firstly, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yes.
It's an honor.
So I was reading a little about you, and I found that your parents have been victims of the Kashmiri Pandit exodus. Do you have memories of it as a child?
Yeah, I do have memories of it. Like it has been worst for Kashmiri Pandits. Migrating from Kashmir to Jammu and other parts of the country. In fact, the other parts of the world also has been quite difficult for Kashmiri Pandits to cope up with. But let me tell you one thing. Like even I strongly believe that Kashmiri Pandits have faced it with brilliantly faced what they had to face. They did not succumb to the pressure of migration. Yes, they excelled. They focused on development, and we could face that honorably. We could face that with dignity, and we could face that with maturity. So in a way, yes, there was something which was very harsh on us, which was very bad, took toll on all the things, good things around us. But then there was no other option than to cope up with, than to go ahead with in a nice way. So Kashmir Pandits faced it, handled it nicely, and today we are we see ourselves in better position. Yes. Yes.
So you're a lawyer, you're a human rights activist. Can you share some influences that make you what you are today?
Beg your pardon, come again.
Can you share some influences that make you what you are today?
I believe like it's you what makes you to be. It's sometimes yes, it's important that you get some inspiration from outside. You get some you get good people around you who can boost and make you to be. But at the initial stage, at a primary stage, I think it is you which makes you to be there. And I always from my childhood felt like being there at the forefront, being there with the people, being the voice of unheard, and convincing people on good things, protection of rights and duties. I believe like it is very important that we should know duties better. We should be in a perform our duties in a much better position than to claim our rights. And once you perform your duties properly, rights are automatically there, rights are automatically protected. Yes, so it is up to you what you feel. It is up to you how you go ahead with. It is up to you like how you see things and how sensitive you are. It is up to you how properly you perform your duties. So Shreya, for me, it is I'm performing my duties only, being the conscious citizen of this country. If at all today also I speak, I question, I sometimes give controversial statements. It is like to question. And I believe it is very important if you have the sense of understanding, if you have the sense of responsibility, if you feel that you have to perform your duties, then you would be having the tendency of questioning. So questioning is very important. Yes. So whatever I am doing these days, whatever I have done in my past, whatever I have done being with someone, I think I have performed my duty. That's it. Yeah.
Can you give us an insight into how you got involved in the Asifa case?
It was like Shreya, this Asifa's case was like a routine case for me. Let me tell you very frankly, and I've been telling to everyone, it was a routine case. I really wanted to get justice. I really wanted to help parents. That was my intention, because I knew that if I'll not be there, or if they are not legally supported, legally advised well, they'll not be able to fight. So my involvement was to help the parents. My being there was to support the parents, to be with them, to be their strength. And that's how I offered my support to them. It was not that they approached me. I offered my support to them because I knew that they need to be strengthened to win the case. And that actually worked, proper planning, proper, a proper planning of doing case, proper planning of approaching Honorable High Court, proper planning of approaching Honorable Supreme Court was there. And by having those things, we could, win the case, and justice, we have seen how justice was delivered to the child. So my intention was to be there with the child. My intention to be with the parents was to strengthen them, to support them. It was not to gain publicity. It was not to, the way people alleged after that she was there for publicity and all. My intention was not to do the publicity. My intention was to strengthen them. And Shreya, let me tell you very frankly, this is, Rasana was not the first case I did. I have done so many cases like this, so many cases, so many PIs and all. But that desire of doing something in society, desire of being with unheard, desire of raising issues, desire of performing your role well, desire of doing your role as an activist makes me to be there. That's that's like how I can sum up, end it in a way like it's important that you perform your duties well and things will fall in line. That's what I believe. Yes.
So for this question, I would like you to give us a little bit of case details. Do you see a similarity between Asifa's case and that of the current developments in Hathras right now?
Hathras and, Hathras, if we, just a moment, the light one, please. Hathras, if you see Hathras case and Kathua case, I actually see both the case happening in the same way. Although the facts can be different, but the way Hathras case is taken up and the way Rasana case, Kathua case was taken up, the way, narrative was, created in Kathua case. One similarity which I see, and someone was asked me the other day also asking, like in Hathras case also it is said that she was, yes, killing is there, death is there, but she's not been raped. This is what I faced in Rasana case also. The opposition which was supporting accused said, yes, death is there. They were not even saying killing. They were saying, yes, death is there. Death of the child is there, but she has not been raped. So I see in Hathras and I see in Kathua also, both the similarity is there. In both the cases, political influence is there. An attempt to save the accused is there. An attempt to divide the society is there. So this happened in Kathua also. This is happening in Hathras also. In both the cases, see someone coming in support of accused. Yes, you have the right to come in support of the accused, but in the courtroom, when you are pleading yourself, your defense, you have the right to support yourself there, but not to divide the society. Right, not to come openly and threaten. I'm seeing how these Thakurs, the supporters of accused are coming and they're threatening openly threatening, extending threats that if these political people will come, or the supporters of the victim would come, will damage them, will damage their vehicles, will kill them, and shall not be held responsible for the same. So this is happening in Hathras, and this happened in Kathua also. There also the sitting ministers held public rallies. They openly extended support to victim, the accused. There was Bharat Mata Ki Jai. This carrying Tiranga Jhanda was there, right? So I see in both the cases, society is being divided. Narrative is being created, right? So I believe criminal cases, if yes, an accused, his parents, everyone, they have the right, they have the defense, they have the right to plead their defense, but in the courtroom, right? Which is what we need to do in a developed society, which is what we need to do in a society which is governed by the law, right? See, we are governed by the criminal law. We have the constitution there. We have the procedure code there. Everything is there on record. We cannot just forget all these things and cross our limits and take to the roads, take to the streets, and then openly extend threats, then why are the courts created? Why is the trial held? So we need to be very sensitive with regard to these things. This is how we are, making a society of gundas. We can say this is like we are not. This is like they're coming, taking to the roads. I mean, instead of going to the court, okay, you feel your child is innocent, you go and file quashment. You go and participate in investigation. Plead your defense in investigation, right? And there are, you see how scientifically investigation is being conducted these days, right? So instead of dividing society, you need to go and play your role in the courtroom, or explore the provisions, avail the remedies available under law, instead of dividing society, instead of setting bad examples. You need to take resort to the law. That is what I feel, and this is what I said in Kathuwa also. I said instead of carrying rallies and supporting victim that is accused, creating a fake narrative, you go and seek quashment of the FIR if you have the grounds, right? But somewhere I don't know what they are up to, and it is like I feel an attempt to divide the society. And I see an attempt with ill motives, with ulterior motives, with ill intentions. That attempt is with ill intentions to divide the society, and I don't know who is trying to gain what out of it. Someone is trying to gain out of it. Yeah, that's what I feel.
So we saw this entire, so many rallies with the national flag, and this attempt to build a so-called nationalist narrative during the Kathuwa case in support of the accused. Was it intimidating to some extent?
It was intimidating. It created fake narrative, and fake narrative, we are still paying for it. I am still paying for it because I was at the forefront. That fake narrative has damaged us to a large extent. That fake narrative, despite 2 years, that fake narrative is still damaging me. Because, branding someone as an anti-national, branding someone saying that she is against Hindu community and she is supporting Muslims, being a Hindu, and saying that she is part of some Tugde gang, she's trying to, create communal violence. How can just a lawyer who is trying to perform her role well, supporting the victim, supporting the unheard, how can it be, how this attempt is dividing the society? I really want to know. Yeah, so the narrative which was that I will not call that nationalistic approach. That was not a nationalistic approach. That was faking nationalism. And that nationalism that they tried to fake was to fulfill their ulterior motives, support accused. Instead, they should have, I'll repeat again, instead they should have gone to the court, pleaded themselves, innocent there. No? So that is how, we are seeing this every time. It is second time that we are seeing that the people who are trying to fake nationalism and create some kind of a propaganda are trying to divide the society. Yes.
So you just mentioned that you had to pay personal costs for fighting this case. Can you share more on that?
It is revisiting. It is revisiting everything. Like whenever I speak about Rasana Kathuwa case, it's like revisiting. So it still gives me goosebumps, it still gives me pain. It still gives me tears, has been quite difficult, has been quite challenging, has been quite, it has not been that simple. It has not been that easy, So that, Shreya, I'll tell you, like when you are branded anti-national, when allegations are leveled that you are an anti-national, it is the most difficult thing to cope up with. Right. So it was quite difficult for me. But then at that moment, I was not in defense mode. I was in a mode to get the child justice, because I knew this all will end. I knew this will end. And that time my priority was to be with the child. My priority was to focus on the case. My priority was to get the trial transferred and get the investigation monitored. We activists are there. We pay for our activism. We pay for activism. Right? Still, I faced lots of things, Shreya. Right? It was like let me just tell, like it was, I put on rent with my daughter. Right? So shifting from one place to the other was quite hectic. In Jammu, where I live, a narrative was created against me that she's anti-Jammu. She's anti-Hindus. So I faced difficulties even in getting a house on rent. Right? And you are accused when you are innocent is very difficult. It's very challenging when you are innocent and you are accused of something which you have not done. It's quite difficult. It's quite challenging. It gives you tough time to face. Right? So I've faced it. And my intentions were pure, Shreya. My intention was to be with the child. My intention was not to gain anything out of it. If at all I wanted to gain for the child only. So that was my intention. But unfortunately, they could not plead their defense in the courtroom also. They could not. Trial continued for 1 year. Right. So have actually paid for it. Have definitely paid for it. Still paying, still being abused. You see on social media, still abused, called with bad names. Right? And people, those who call me with bad names, they don't know me. They've never met me. They've never spoken to me. They've never tried to know my ideology. They've never spoken on subject with me, but still calling with bad names. Still branding you anti-national. Still saying isko Pakistan bhej do. So that is quite difficult to face, Shreya. Yeah.
So do you think rapes are a result of perversion, or is it to settle a sort of a power equation?
Rapes, like what I feel is like it's not that easy to answer. It's not that easy to answer. We cannot answer this question in just one line. It has roots, Shreya. It has roots, and it is something which is which unfortunately, see, I was just seeing this this notification which this MHA has yesterday come up with. I was just reading it, and this is law. This is law. This is settled law, right? So despite having law, despite what is prescribed under books, you see IPC, you see CRPC, or you see the amendments which took place in 2013, despite all these things come. You know why? Because there is no implementation, right? So these notifications are a result of not implementing law. These are reminders. You know, when something is not done, you give reminders. This is very basic, right? This proves that they are not in a position to stop rapes. This proves that they are not in a position to stop rapes from happening. This proves that they are not in a position to stop. This proves that they are not in a position to implement the law related to subject. These reminders prove one thing, right? So rape, I sometimes feel that, as I said, that this is a very difficult question to answer in a way that this is such deep rooted, right? I mean, we often come across questions where we are asked like, what are the ways that rape cases can be stopped from taking place? So let us ask this question to each other. Let us ask this question to each other. What can be the ways and what are rapes result of? What are rapes result of? Right? Is it, I mean, if we have a basic discussion on it, if we have basic discussion on it, Shreya, so can we somewhere, I mean, accuse and allege or question the upbringing? Right? Are we accuse and allege and question the educational setup? Right? Because Shreya, I said that this is so deep rooted that we need to find answers around. That we need to question things around. That we need to see this mindset. And we need to see implementation of law. Right? And this is every day a rape happening, every day someone being raped, and now brutal rapes taking place, assault of body being seen. Earlier, like rape cases were there, but were not that brutal. Rape is already brutal. Rape is always brutal. It destroys the very soul of a victim. It destroys the very soul of a victim. But now you see damage is caused to body also. So it is to destroy the evidence. Shreya, this is not that simple to answer. This needs to be seen on various fronts. It needs to be seen on broader contours. It needs to be answers. It needs to be answered after having a detailed discussion on it. You cannot get away with it just by answering in one line. No. Despite having stringent law on it, we're not able to stop. We have seen capital punishment in Nirbhaya's case. Do you think that capital punishment worked? So somewhere the other, we need to work on basic things. If at all we want rapes to end, I mean taking place of rape cases, I think it needs to be seen and discussed, and everyone has a role to play. Everyone has a role to play, and strict implementation of law. Strict implementation of law. Shreya, you know, I'll submit in very basic, simple language. अगर एक पुलिस वाला चाहे तो उसके एरिया में एक परिंदा भी पर नहीं मार सकता. अगर एक पुलिस वाला चाहे, राइट? बट वो जो चाहत है वो नहीं है. सो उस चाहत को मैं विल बोलूंगी, राइट? सो दैट इज लैकिंग. That is lacking. So, and it has different things. It's not that simple subject to answer, Shreya. It needs to be discussed at a larger level, and everyone has a role. हम ये सोचे कि सिर्फ police has a role to play and schools have no role to play, then we are wrong. We cannot play blame game in this. Or we cannot shift burden to a particular person. We cannot do that. Everyone has a role to, play in protecting women. Everyone has a role. Every institution has a role. Every stakeholder has a role. Yeah.
Is there need for legal literacy in the country?
Definitely. Definitely. I think this education policy which has come, I think they should have introduced law as a compulsory subject. You're very right. Legal literacy is very important. You need to know your rights and duties well. And that, I mean, complete, we need to go complete change, Shreya. We need to undergo complete change. Society needs to undergo complete change on this subject. You see, rape, people coming in favor of rape accused. This we are seeing, I guess, after Kathuwa. Right? After Kathuwa, we saw this. And who is boosting them? Who is extending support to these people? And is police taking action against them? Is police, booking these people who are extending threats to of rape victim? Has police taken any action against them? Right? That is how you see things. I told you, Shreya, this is not that easy subject to, develop on. It is a complete, a very lengthy subject, and it needs to be discussed on all the fronts. Carrying a national flag in support of rape accused. Do you think that is not disrespecting national flag? That is not question. That doesn't question nationality of those people. Right? So as a whole, complete difficult subject to deal with, to handle and talk about. Yes.
Can you share some basic legal rights provided to rape victims and their families?
See, Shreya, it is very important that that an FIR, first of all, an FIR is the first option under law provided. You have to, if someone is raped, if rape is committed on a woman or a girl or a child, you have, I told you, Shreya, there is no dearth of law. We have stringent law available on this subject. It is only implementation we require. The other day I was talking about a receipt of the complaint. You don't get receipt of the complaint. So the right available under law is that when someone is raped, you are supposed to report it without delay. Right? Because yes, at times delay is fatal in a criminal case, but there are Supreme Court judgments which say delay explained well is not fatal in rape cases. So without delay, I would say without delay, 1 day delay, 2 day delay can do, but not more than that. Without delay, you'll have to report the case. Right? And after reporting it, you need to write properly your complaint. You need to mention the name of the accused. You need to mention about the number of the accused. You need to mention their identity in the complaint that you are filing. You need to well explain what they have done to you. You need to mention that it was against your consent. Right? Because you see, Shreya, I told you, yes, you are right, legal literacy needs to be there. When before 2012, when Nirbhaya took place, and 2013 was the Criminal Amendment Act when it came, now earlier, it was only penis penetration, right, which constituted rape, right? Now it is penetration of even an object, right? Even it can be penetration of anything is rape. It was not earlier there, right? This needs to be told to people, So rape constitutes penetration of an object, right? So some people don't know it. People hardly know about it. So this needs to be told, right? So this is something that we really need to talk about. So people need to know about it, that you need to write your complaint properly. Right? So you know that in Nirbhaya's case, there were iron rods that were inserted her body. Right? So that's how it came. That's how law was developed on it. That even if there is insertion of an object, it is rape. All right. So section 376, section 375 defines it properly. If you go through Criminal Amendment Act 2013, right? And then after filing a complaint, properly written complaint, mentioning name of the accused, mentioning area of the accused, identifying him properly, explaining all the things that you were raped, it was against your consent, all these things, you need to submit it before the concerned authority, before the police station having the jurisdiction. Right? And after that, you need to tell, you're getting yourself medically examined, is your right. Right? And it has to be within 12 hours. Right? It has to be immediately after one is raped. Because and I must, through your forum, I request and I pray that no girl is raped, no woman is raped. But then, unfortunately, if someone is raped, so I must request the victims that please don't wash yourself. Because when we change and we wash, it somewhere takes away the evidence also. You tend to wash the evidence also. So it is very important that in the same position, we go to the police station and report complaint, get ourselves medically examined, because there can be collection of evidence from your body. Collection of evidence can be in any form. It can be in the form of hair also. Right? Which happened in Kothua case. Right? So these things are very important, that you know that you'll have to go, you'll have to draft a complaint, and then report, file it before the concerned SHO, take the receipt of the complaint, right, and follow up. And if the SHO does not register your FIR, police station, does not take cognizance of your complaint, which is cognizable, because rape is a cognizable offense, right? So you immediately need to report before the SSP concerned, which is procedure under law. And if SSP is not doing it, you immediately need to go and approach the court, right? So that a direction of registering of FIR can be sought from the court, right? So this is the procedure provided under law, and you need to put yourself to evidence. You need to tell the police officer, please record my statement, produce me before the magistrate, and your statement under section 164 has the validity. When you appear before the court and get your statement recorded, it is a valid statement, and it is an authentic statement. Although 161 is not that authentic, because it is recorded in the police station, but the statement which is recorded before magistrate is quite authentic statement, right? So you immediately need to tell without delay. And you, at the same time, if you see that their delay is being committed by the police officer, you need to approach the High Court, or you need to approach the CJM concerned, the Chief Judicial Magistrate of the district. You have the right to sort reports from the police station. You need to get your case investigated by the High Court. Investigation monitored by the High Court. That's how we can keep vigil on our case. That's how, because you have right to seek every document. You have the right to seek FIR, copy of the FIR. You have the right to seek copy of the statement that you got recorded before the magistrate. You have the right to take all the documents so that you prepare file, and you have the right to have the counselor, because in 2013 after 2000 amendment you have the right to have the counselor in the police station also. You're right. So in 2000 amendment is quite wide, but unfortunately is not being implemented. It is not being implemented. That is the unfortunate part, that despite having stringent law, despite having quite a good law on the subject, law is not being implemented. I told a day I was doing a case and there was not insertion of penis. The officer said, no, there is insertion of finger only. I said, sir, it is rape. Please see amendment. Right? So insertion of anything is rape, and this needs to be taught, and this needs to be, and I believe apart from legal literacy for the civilians, legal literacy needs to be there for police officers also. Right? They also need to be, taught, and they need to stay updated on the subject. And above all, Shreya, I believe it is the will. It is the will which makes you to deliver justice. I told you ना, पुलिस वाला चाहे तो कुछ भी हो सकता है. हमें सीबीआई की इंक्वायरी की जरूरत ही नहीं है वहां पर. हमें एसआईटी की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ती. अगर एक कंसर्न थानेदार, अगर एक इंचार्ज जो पुलिस स्टेशन का प्रॉपरली कंप्लेंट रिसीव करता है और प्रॉपरली चार्जशीट लिखता है, प्रॉपर प्रोविजंस इन्वोक करता है अगेंस्ट द एक्यूज्ड, आपको सीबीआई की जरूरत नहीं है. It is only how a police officer understands his duty well, how he does his duty well, that is required. Yes.
What would be your message for young women?
My message to young women is to understand your strength. Understand your strength, understand your caliber, stay updated, read a lot. Empowerment comes when you realize yourself. Right? Don't wait for others to empower you. Don't wait for others to empower you. Right? You can get empowered by yourself, and that will come when you realize yourself, when you raise voice for yourself, when you perform your duties well, when you exercise your duties, your rights well. So I should say that it is realizing your strength, realizing your capability, your caliber. It comes with that. Yes.